Hello, I have done my audition and I'm going to tell you how it went in this video. I did my audition 2 days ago and I had it at 12 in the morning. They're doing 4 days of auditions and I had a sneak peek at the pianist's register and there was about 14 people on it for that day. So I'm guessing about 15 people a day, about 75, possibly between 70 and 80 people auditioning for recalls, in the recalls. Last year had 33 people in the year, and this year they have 38 people in the year. They have 3 classes though, so they're not all together, which is lovely to hear, because 38 in one class or even 2 classes is a bit much for a master's. So I'm not sure how many places they're going to give out this year, but it'll be around those numbers. I got there about half an hour before my audition and I was sirening and wailing on the street beforehand, walking past Madame Tussauds and lots of trucks and construction sites just so no one would hear me. And then I got there and I didn't realise that they give you a practice room, which is amazing. So I got up there and I had about 5-10 minutes in there by myself to warm up, do whatever I wanted. And then a pianist was going to come in at 1:45 to run through my songs with me, and I was like, yes, because Living on a Prayer, for example, I'd done with a backing track, I'd done with a piano instrumental backing track, but never live with a piano, so that was really good to practice. So he took me over, had a lovely guy named Ian, and I just showed him where the cuts were, and we just ran all the pieces once, and asked me if I was happy with the tempo, things like that. So you don't have to discuss the tempo or the cuts or anything like that in the audition room, because you'll sort all that out beforehand. And then at 12 I went in, there were 2 people on the panel and a girl that was, I think, taking notes as well. And then obviously Ian. And they were lovely, and they asked me what I'd like to sing first. And I said I like to do my songs first, Astonishing, and then, and they let you take a little water break and a breather between each song. And then I did my monologue, and then they asked me to sit down for a little chat. So they pulled up a chair and they asked me things that they saw on my CV. So every person will have different questions. For me, they saw that I was a soprano, so they asked me to do a little bit of range work. So they asked me to go from one note up to the octave and then kept going up. And then they said, oh, brilliant. Could you actually do that last one, but in a floaty way? And I didn't necessarily know what he meant. So I said, oh, do you mean a bit more sustained and quiet? And he said, yeah, just a lot lighter and controlled. So I was like, okay. So I did my best at at that. And they were like, cool. So then I sat down and they said, on your CV, it says you did a bit of movement directing. Tell me a little bit about that. So I told them a little bit about how I was working on a friend of a friend's project on a short film. They just want to get to know you as a creative and what you get up to and what you find interesting. They also noticed that I'd graduated in 2019, which is right before the pandemic. So they said, what did you kind of get up to in the pandemic? Again, just to try and get to know you as a person, what you like to involve your time with, and trying to see how driven you are and what your interests are. And I mainly just let them know that at the moment I've just been working a lot creatively, doing choreography for youth productions, and that I use my time wisely, really, for my career. And since coming home after lockdown, I've put myself into a lot of non-professional theatre, because I said, and I'm quite proud of what I said on this bit, I was like, you can go to classes, you can practice at home, but what you can't do is practice being directed. You can't practice doing your costume changes. You can't practice being part of a company and do long rehearsals back to back and do shows back to back unless you're in a production. Don't tell Reese I'm eating his protein bars. He won't be happy. They then asked me to do my monologue again. And I was still sat right in front of them on a chair, but they said, just do it like a conversation. Just go for it. So then I just stripped it all back, and I just spoke it to them, and I got a few sentences in, and they were like, and I could hear myself kind of doing it as I'd rehearsed it a little bit, and still doing a little bit of, not the actions, but yeah, doing a performance. And they kind of stopped me and said, just a conversation. I can hear your intonations going slightly the same as what you did before. And I was like, yeah, I heard that too. And they seemed happy with what I did the second time. I didn't have to do it all. But yeah. So overall, I feel like it went well. I'm happy with how my songs went. I'm happy with my choices in my acting through song. Oh, they asked me what roles I'd like to be in and what musical theatre I'd love to be a part of. So yeah, just these things you'll probably already know, but we forget to ask ourselves sometimes. So know what theatre you want to do. Know why you want to be there instead of other places. They just want to see your personality. They just want to see what makes you passionate and what you have drive towards. But overall, they're always going to want you to do well. Just remember that. They're going to want you to do well. They're not trying to catch you out. They just want to get to know you as a person because they've never met you before. And enjoy it. I had a really nice time, and then I came out and I was like, cool, I can enjoy my day now. They even said like, oh, what have you got planned for the rest of the day? And it was my birthday, so I was like, I'm just going to go walk around and meet some friends, which is quite nice. It's really hard to gauge a lot from just being in the room for 15 minutes or talking small talk to some students that are there. But just remember, even if it doesn't go how you planned, just to leave it at the door, enjoy the rest of your day, say well done to yourself because you did something that was very difficult and pressurising, but that was my experience and I really enjoyed it. I forgot to ask when they'll let us know, but after watching a few other people's videos, I suspect it's around 2 to 3 weeks, so I'm going to forget about it now. And I will be back with a video to tell you if I did get a place or not, because even if I didn't, there's always something to learn.